Secrets of the Seventh Son, the Prophecy Revealed. The village of Eldoria, nestled deep within the ancient forest of Everwood, was known for its enchanting beauty and mystical aura. Legends spoke of a prophecy tied to a seventh son, and every generation watched with bated breath whenever a family approached the birth of their seventh male child. For centuries, the prophecy had remained dormant, but the villagers whispered that the time was near. On a cold winter's night, beneath the silvery glow of a full moon, the seventh son of the humble blacksmith Thomas was born. The child was named Ethan, and his birth was marked by an eerie silence that swept through Eldoria, as if the very forest held its breath. From that moment, strange occurrences began to unfold. Animals behaved oddly, the weather shifted unpredictably, and an unsettling sense of anticipation hung in the air. As Ethan grew, it became apparent he was no ordinary boy. By his 10th birthday, he had developed an uncanny ability to understand and communicate with animals. He could calm the fiercest of beasts with a mere glance and coax plants to bloom in the dead of winter. The villagers, initially wary, soon saw these gifts as a sign that the ancient prophecy was indeed coming to fruition. Ethan's mother, Alara, was a woman of wisdom and deep intuition. She had long suspected that her son was destined for greatness, but she also feared for his safety. The prophecy spoke of great power, but also of great danger. She confided in Thomas, and together they decided to teach Ethan all they could about the world and his potential place within it. One stormy night, as thunder rumbled through the forest, a cloaked figure appeared at their doorstep. It was Elric, an old hermit who lived on the outskirts of Eldoria. Known for his knowledge of ancient lore, Elric was both respected and feared. He had come to speak with Ethan. "The time has come," Elric said, his voice a gravelly whisper. "The prophecy of the seventh son is upon us. Ethan must be prepared for what lies ahead." Ethan, now 15, felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. He had always sensed he was different, but the weight of his destiny was overwhelming. Elric began to teach him the ancient arts, from deciphering cryptic texts to harnessing his innate abilities. The hermit revealed that the prophecy foretold of a great darkness that would rise, and that only the seventh son could prevent the impending doom. As Ethan's training progressed, he discovered the existence of a hidden realm known as the Shadowlands. This dark and mysterious place was said to be the source of the looming threat. To fulfill his destiny, Ethan would need to journey into the Shadowlands and confront the malevolent force that dwelled there. With Elric as his guide, Ethan embarked on the perilous journey. They traveled through the dense, enchanted forest, crossing rivers and climbing mountains, until they reached the entrance to the Shadowlands. It was a dark, foreboding cave, its entrance shrouded in mist. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine as he stepped inside, but he knew there was no turning back. The Shadowlands were unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. The sky was a perpetual twilight, casting an eerie glow over the twisted landscape. Shadows moved of their own accord, whispering secrets and warnings. Elric led the way, his staff glowing with a soft, reassuring light. As they ventured deeper, they encountered creatures of the dark, twisted, and malevolent. Ethan's abilities were put to the test as he fought to protect himself and Elric. With each battle, he grew stronger and more confident, but he also felt the weight of the prophecy pressing down on him. After days of arduous travel, they reached the heart of the Shadowlands, a vast, desolate plain with a towering obsidian fortress at its center. This was the lair of the Dark One, the malevolent force Ethan had to confront. Elric, weary from the journey, gave Ethan one final piece of advice. "Remember, Ethan, your strength lies not just in your abilities, but in your heart. The prophecy speaks of a power that can only be unlocked by true courage and selflessness." Ethan nodded, his resolve firm. He approached the fortress, its dark spires reaching towards the sky like claws. As he entered, the air grew colder and an oppressive darkness enveloped him. He could feel the presence of the Dark One, a being of pure malevolence, lurking in the shadows. In the heart of the fortress, Ethan found himself face to face with the Dark One. It was a towering figure, cloaked in darkness, with eyes that burned like embers. The air crackled with dark energy as it spoke. "Seventh son, you dare to challenge me? You are but a boy, and I am the darkness that consumes all." Ethan stood his ground, his heart pounding in his chest. He could feel the power within him, a light that countered the darkness. Drawing upon all he had learned, he faced the Dark One, not with fear, but with determination. The battle that ensued was fierce and relentless. Ethan fought with all his might, using his abilities to counter the Dark One's attacks. As the struggle intensified, he remembered Elric's words and tapped into the deepest recesses of his heart. A blinding light emanated from within him, pushing back the darkness. In that moment, Ethan realized the true meaning of the prophecy. It was not just his abilities that made him special, but his capacity for love, courage, and sacrifice. With a final, desperate effort, he unleashed the full extent of his power, enveloping the Dark One in a radiant light. The fortress trembled, and the darkness began to dissipate. The Dark One let out a final, anguished cry before dissolving into nothingness. The Shadowlands began to transform, the perpetual twilight giving way to a bright and vibrant dawn. Ethan, exhausted but victorious, emerged from the fortress. Elric, waiting outside, smiled with pride and relief. Together they made their way back to Eldoria, where the villagers awaited with bated breath. As Ethan and Elric entered the village, a cheer went up from the crowd. The prophecy had been fulfilled, and the threat of darkness had been vanquished. Ethan was hailed as a hero, but he remained humble, knowing that his journey had only just begun. Eldoria flourished in the years that followed, with Ethan as its protector and guide. He continued to hone his abilities, always mindful of the prophecy and the responsibility it entailed. And though the path ahead was uncertain, he knew he would face it with the same courage and selflessness that had brought him this far. The secrets of the seventh son had been revealed, and with them, a new era of hope and prosperity dawned upon Eldoria. The villagers no longer feared the prophecy, but embraced it, knowing that as long as there were those like Ethan, the light would always triumph over darkness.